didn't really work. So we're just gonna hang out, watch the Giants game, and answer some questions. Hopefully you got some. Very bad connection. Great. Oh yeah? Where are you doing that at, Gene? I think that my live stream is good now, right? Yes, it's saying very bad connection, but oh, nice. I think you should pick Brandon Marshall, personally. I think he's going to have a big year. $14 people watching. So guys, tell me what you think of the Trail Boss videos, what you want to see, what you like, what you don't like. And I did that how-to video, so maybe you saw that how to punch video, and that thing is on fire for me. I have very modest YouTube goals, but that thing is taken off pretty good. So what did you like about that video? What's something you'd want to see so I can make more? Bike reviews. Alright. Well, I got one on there, but I'd like to see some more Trail Boss videos around your location. Ringwood. Definitely got to do Ringwood for sure. This is just a sponsor plug too. It's filled with water. I was going to go to the Jorba Jam, Gene, and maybe shoot a Trail Boss there. Dale's is good. Shoot a Trail Boss at Jorba Jam, but there's so much good stuff there. And then also talking to Kathy Kraus, who coaches with Dirt, Rock, and Root. I was going to do a Trail Boss ride along with her, and we were talking about doing one, maybe even Cannonball. Don't want to give away let the cat out of the bag just yet, but we're talking about doing Cannonball. You should definitely get her on Bike Chat. She's awesome. These comments, when you do it on your phone, they come by quick. Come by Wissahickon. So, Kenny, I work with Oscar Blues, and we do these bike build donations, and they have an event that's going to be taking place in Philly fairly soon. I think, well, not super soon. I think October, where we build a whole bunch of bikes and we donate them to kids. And they were going to do one in Philly, and we're going to try to put together a group ride at WIS in conjunction with that. So subscribe or like my YouTube channel, or not my YouTube channel, my Facebook or whatever, because I'll post information on that so you could come on that ride when it happens. My favorite trail on Mountain Creek, I don't know, Ethan. There's so many different ones. Some days I just like to go and hit like Upper Dominion, Lower Dominion, and then there's other times like I did that video for my channel just recently with Dave Van Wert hitting some of the older trails at Mountain Creek, like BMW and all that. And some of that stuff, like you go and you ride it and you don't even feel like you're at a bike park. It's super, super funny. Not funny, fun. Super fun. You almost feel like you're just out on a crazy mountain bike ride, not necessarily a bike park. I don't think I've ever ridden in Ellicottville, but that's by the Finger Lakes region, right? Could you do a how to practice bunny hopping over rooty sections like you did in a schooner trace? You mean like hopping up the end? Oh, close. Yeah. So I used to do demos for some mountain bike festival in the Seneca Lakes region. I forget what it was called, but it was like this big downtown street festival. It's a really, really, really nice area. I haven't mountain biked there though, but if you have any suggestions, always. YouTube's going to be for videos. Facebook, if you want to talk to me, send me comments, whatever. I have an athlete page there. If you have cool places to ride, put them on my Facebook, and I'll check it out. I don't use flats for trail riding. I pretty much always clip in. I don't know, like I rode trials and I can ride flats, but for some reason I just always like clipping in, and I feel like it's like the extra challenge of doing it clipped in just makes it like one extra element of challenge. As far as, let's see, as far as my favorite trail, Black Magic or Tiger's Blood, that's a tough one, because if you asked me up until a year ago, I would tell you that I absolutely hated Black Magic. Hated. Tony and those guys work so hard to build those trails, but sometimes like they're so technical, and when you build them by hand, they're just super awkward. Yeah, Nick, I would definitely make a pedal Montclair ride some Thursday evening. I had like a chat going with is it Andrea maybe from the shop. She was going to get me information, and then we kind of lost touch. So somebody just reach out to me. I would totally do a Thursday night ride with Pedal Montclair. Yeah, so now I kind of like Black Magic, though. Black Magic is pretty sweet. But Tiger's Blood is also pretty sweet, too. Mexico, that's awesome. On a Thursday, definitely. Yeah, get me the information for one of those Thursday night rides. I would totally do it. Just by the way, Gene, Giants are beating the Pats 14-7. Kind of typical for the Giants and the Patriots. You're riding in Vermont this what? This weekend? I love the Patriots. I'll tell you why I like the Patriots. Because as a Giants fan, where should you ride? I would say if you're riding up in Vermont, you should definitely ride the Kingdom Trails. Mainly because if you roll into town, you'll find places to ride easily because there's such an established trail network. Yes, I could definitely review the X Fusion. So yeah, let me tell you why I like the Patriots, because I want the Patriots to win every single time, except when they play the Giants, because then it looks more impressive when the Giants beat them every single time. Tim, I haven't really ridden Lake Tahoe that much, but I will be in Reno for some demos the 23rd or 24th of October. No, September. So don't tell me you're a Jets fan, Gene. If you are, we're not ever talking again. So yeah, I'm going to be in Tahoe on the 15th. No, the 23rd or 24th of September. So, like my follow my Facebook page. I'll put it on there. There's a new Giant dealer opening, Giant Reno, and I'll be in that area. and I'd be up for riding because I have some free time. I have not ridden YT bikes, but my buddy Cam Zink distributes them. So if Cam is involved, they can't be too bad. But obviously, I'm partial to Giant. I think they're pretty awesome. Gina, you really a Jets fan? Look at that. New York Giants. Boo, boo, boo. Oh, man. I did root for the Jets when Favre played for him for a year. And then, I don't know. They were kind of exciting a little bit during a Rex Ryan era because he talked so much smack, but I'm Giants through and through. Thank you, Justin, very much. I love the Giant Trance as well. You want to buy the X Fusion Velvet. Is it worth it? Hold on one second. I have a technique question for you, Jeff. Maybe send me that technique question again. It came up and disappeared too quick. I didn't see it. Just copy and paste it or whatever if you can. The X Fusion Velvet, I don't ride that particular fork because I ride the Trace and the Slant and some other forks. My favorite Giant MTB is a Giant Trance for sure, just because it's the most. That other last question just disappeared. Just because it's the most versatile. But I definitely do ride the Rain quite a bit at the bike park, and I just filmed my last Trail Boss in Pisgah on a Rain, and I love riding the Anthem as well. But if you want to just pick, if I had to pick one that's going to suit my needs the most, I would say Trance for sure. Oh, so as far as the Velvet, all the internals and valving and everything are going to be the same as what I ride, and I have been loving my X Fusion stuff for the past 5 years or whatever. As a pro, obviously, we don't have to pay for a ton of equipment, but I am aware of prices, and they're a very good value. And then as far as me, I can't be traveling around and having stuff break and whatever, so I always like to partner with people whose stuff works good and is dependable, and that stuff I've never had any problems, knock on wood. So, all right, technique question. Maybe easier to explain in person, but when you're going off a jump kicker table, watching people do them, something about a slight table. Ugh, this is terrible. They come in too fast. Send me that message on Facebook or something. It might be easier to just explain it to you there. Yeah, just ride with Jeff on Facebook. Message me or post it on my wall or whatever. I'll answer it for you. I'm not too much of a speed reader. Come on, some more questions. Anything you got? Does it keep you more stable through the air instead of just keeping it, shall we say, stiff? Yeah, I like to tell people that, so I was just in China a few weeks ago. I was giving a little jump explanation demo, whatever. Obviously, you want to compress off the lip and stuff like that. And then I was saying how you're basically doing the same motion as a bunny hop, except when you're doing it on the flat ground, you have to do everything yourself. You have to lift the bike off the ground. You have to yank up on the handlebars pretty hard. You have to jump with your feet. And when you're doing it off of a jump, the ground is doing a lot of that stuff for you. So when you go off the jump and you're actively participating versus just like being a passenger on the bike, that's why you don't get as sketchy or whatever. So if you know how to bunny hop or read a bunny hop tutorial or whatever, and then you're hitting a jump, you're doing a lot of those same motions, but you're just not doing them as hard. You don't have to yank back on the handlebars and push them away from you. It's the same motion, just softer. And then when you do that, it helps you be more active in the whole process, and you don't get sketchy on the jumps and stuff like that. I've been doing some guest coaching on, or just answering questions as a guest on Ryan Leach's website, and there's some pretty awesome info on there. Like, I would definitely check that out. It's the Ryan Leach Connection, and he just did a course on jumping. So if you're like really looking to take it super seriously and like get every single detail from beginner to expert, it might be worth checking out. Have I ridden the Asheville area? Yes. Asheville is the best place in the entire world. Asheville is DuPont Forest, Pisgah Forest, all that stuff is within a half hour, 40-minute drive. It's really, really awesome, Bo. I would definitely... Super chat button. I would definitely check out DuPont for sure, and then definitely check out Pisgah. And if you go to Pisgah, go into the Hub Bike Shop. It's like right at the entrance, and they can give you all the information that you need. Oh, cool. Awesome, Nick. Yeah, but definitely go to the Hub. Those guys, like, if you tell them I have an hour and I want to do an intermediate ride, or I have 3 hours and I want to do an expert ride, they'll tell you exactly what your best bet is. Those guys are awesome. And then they have the Pisgah Tavern afterwards. Oh, cool. All right, Nick. Yeah, definitely. Like, it's just, if you just like ride off of a jump and just stay completely neutral, it's easy to do like a dead sailor or something like that. So at least if you go through the motions of a bunny hop, you're like an active participant. You're not going to get as squirrely. Yeah, I just watched Seth's video in the parking lot of Mountain Creek, and that guy's a stickler. He does not give away points for bike parks very easily, but it sounded like he had a really good time there, so that was pretty sweet. Highland is awesome. Going from flats to clips worth it. As a trials rider, I basically had to learn how to ride flats forever, and I can ride flats very proficiently. Mainly because when you do trials, if you're, say, riding on the side of a hill and you slip your tire or something, and just like you couldn't unclip for some weird reason or whatever, and you were to like tip over and hit your hip on the side of a hill or something, it's going to be a 5-point score instead of 1. So, or maybe like sometimes when you're balancing, you stick your foot out to get some balance or whatever. I have not ridden the Ridge, Nick, and I am around Monday, so I'd be up for checking it out. So yeah, with trials, like, you just have to be able to get your feet off if you need them off. So the main reason I ride clips for trails is number 1, climbing for sure. Number 2, totally, right? Trail features. So number 1, when you're climbing, I'm definitely coming back to Monte Vista, Jay Wheezy. Number 1, climbing. Number 2, just because like when you're going down stuff and your feet are rattling around and everything, clips just keep your feet in place. And then number 3, I like riding technical terrain. Yeah, you're right about that, Nick. Mountain Creek's food's not as bad as he said it was, but it definitely could be better. So, and then I just like the challenge of riding in clipless pedals, like riding technical terrain in clipless pedals. I feel like it's like a higher level of commitment. If I had to compare it to, I could sit there and hit a dirt jump line all day long with a finger resting on the brake lever and never use that finger to brake. But if you ride through death grip, it's just a whole nother level of commitment, and it's the same move. It just like freaks you out a little bit to just ride it totally death grip. I feel like it's kind of similar when you're riding real technical terrain clipped in. What bike did I use in NWD8? I rode my Giant STP. That was a bike that I helped design, and we did it for maybe 8 years or whatever, and it was awesome. It was a hardtail free ride bike that was great for trials, dirt jumping, whatever. Very versatile bike. Jay Weezy, am I going to do harder tricks? Man, you're a tough crowd. Sure, I could definitely do harder tricks, but a lot of those school demos are like 8 o'clock in the morning, dude. So I'm like half asleep, and sometimes you just do stuff like wheelies and bunny hops to get kids to cheer. But if I need to step it up for you, I'll step it up for you. Jay Weezy, you've seen me do the shows a couple times now. All right. Well, yeah, that's a good point. Now that I've been going back to some of those schools for 2 years, next year will be the third year. We'll have to change stuff around. So we'll change stuff around for you. Where do I do shows? I do shows all over, Sean. I have one at the New Jersey Grand Fondo next Saturday, or no, actually next Sunday. Then on the 23rd or 24th, I'm in Reno doing one for Giant. On the 30th, I'm in back in Las Vegas doing a grand opening. On the 1st, we're trying to set up a demo for a new bike shop in Jersey City. The first weekend in October, I'm in Ohio. I think it's Akron. The second weekend of October, I'm at Go Outside Festival in Roanoke, Virginia. So all over the place. If you only follow me on YouTube, follow me on Facebook too. If best bet is Facebook for that kind of stuff. I don't drive the trailer at all, those, Gene. So like the ones in Bring Back the Truck Jump. That's true. I go and I build like a pop-up setup at some of those. So like the East Coast ones obviously have my trailer. This summer I did have my trailer like in Utah and stuff like that, but it takes a lot more planning to do that. Thanks, Fernando. Yeah, so YouTube, that's where I'm putting all my video stuff, but like I don't make announcements about demos, or if I do like a TV spot or something, I don't put that on my YouTube channel. So definitely try to subscribe to both, because I put different stuff on both channels or networks or whatever you want to call it. Same thing with Instagram. Instagram's always a ton of pictures, whatever. So if you're a YouTube follower, I know, but Justin, how am I supposed to do that? So then follow Instagram. Say, if it's just copy, hey, come to Giant Reno Saturday. I mean, I'm not going to make a video for every single thing. You guys will be sick of looking at my face. So I just throw that up on Facebook, but I usually do put it on Instagram as well too. So if you hate Facebook and you really don't want to do it, then you could just subscribe to my Instagram, because I'll usually post on there as well. Have I designed any bike parks? I helped design. Okay. Have I designed any bike parks, and what do I look for in a bike personal standpoint? Not a person standpoint versus like an animal standpoint. I have designed some bike parks. I did a lot of like design for competition courses and stuff. So like I used to design the Teva Mountain Games slopestyle course and Sea Otter Classic jump courses and stuff like that. But those were always like events that you would have, and then they'd eventually tear down. I did build a bike park in New York City, Highbridge Bike Park. We built a jump line and a pump track, and it's pretty awesome. The thing is way bigger and way better now, like 10 years later than when we built it. So sometimes, like when we built that bike park, we would go into New York City. We would build this bike park. There would be kids helping us that like didn't know anything about bikes at all. We would have volunteer days. Grown-ups from the city would come out to help us, and you'd hand a 30-year-old guy a shovel and say, "Pack down that jump," and they wouldn't know what you're talking about. And then the light goes off that they live in the city and they're just not familiar with patting down dirt jumps and stuff like that. So it's cool now. Like I've seen pictures. My buddy Dave Holzer works there. The jumps are way better now than when we built them 10 years ago. So sometimes you don't know if you're going to build that and come back in 5 years and it's a pile of weeds, or in this case it's better than ever. So that's really awesome. That's in Washington Heights in New York City. And then the other question was, what do I look for in a bike from a personal standpoint? And I guess it depends on what I'm using it for. Aaron Chase just put out a really awesome video that maybe I'll get flamed for saying this, but he just put out an awesome video this morning riding an e-bike. But it's seriously really awesome. I mean, it's probably like the only e-bike video that I would ever say is awesome, but it's Aaron Chase. So that guy could like ride a spare tire of a car and it would look awesome. So look for that. That's pretty awesome. I would just Google Aaron Chase and the company and Pivot. It's a new bike that they put out, and it's really awesome. I forget where I saw it. I think it was just on his personal page, so look it up on Facebook. What's up, Sophia? And then what do I look for in a bike from a personal standpoint? I would say for the longest time, I would always push for having a bike that people could actually buy, because when I first started riding, I would have like prototype bikes and stuff like that, and it was awesome for me. When I first started riding for X-Fusion, I had like special forks that like they would, have their race shop tuned for me and whatever, and it was like kind of cool, but it's way better now, like 5 years later, whatever. Oh my God, Seth. 5-10 years later now, like if somebody wants to buy the Trance that I ride with the forks and the shocks and the gears and everything, like you can buy the exact same bike. Nothing that I ride is custom. Nothing is one-off. So it's really cool to like ride something that like if anybody wants to buy it or ride it or whatever, they can go out and get it. So I have a bike check on my channel for my Giant Trance. So you can see what I ride for as far as that, and I've definitely been very lucky that I pretty much have always picked the sponsors I work with, and I couldn't possibly be happier than what I use. In the past, I definitely have had some sponsors that sucked, and riding for companies that you don't like their stuff is really the worst thing ever, and fortunately that happened years and years and years ago. So I'm not in a position that I really have to do that anymore. So if you see something on my bike, it's because I like it. It's good stuff. Paul, you asked me what kind of gear that I ride. I'll get back to that in 1 second. So check out my bike check for my Trance. I have an Anthem that's basically the exact same bike, but just 130 millimeter travel fork and the Anthem frame, and then everything else is exactly the same. And then I have a Rain that's I'm going to do a bike check on in the next couple days. I've been meaning to do that. And then my STP, I probably should do a little bike check on that too. So Paul, I forget what your question was. Paul, post your question again because I forgot what it was and it like went by super quick. My favorite trick, probably my favorite trick is probably bar spins, really, because when I started riding bikes, it was always about trials, and when you ride trials, it's so much influence and emphasis is on your handlebars and like pulling on your handlebars and keeping your front tire in the air and like how you control the bike, etc., etc. So you have like so much emphasis on using your handlebars and not letting go of your handlebars. So learning to do bar spins and stuff and incorporating them at the trials, moves, and whatever was really awesome because you have to like completely go against the nature of oh, Fernando, that's awesome. You totally have to go against everything that you know as a trials rider, which is just like hold on to those handlebars and give them as much grip as possible to like get until you give yourself crazy calluses and then you learn to like let go and throw the bars and whatever. So it's pretty cool. Paul, as far as gears on Trail Boss climbs, I think I'm gonna do a how to on like doing technical climbs. But my tips for doing technical climbs would be run definitely err on the side of like a slightly harder gear than a lower gear, because if you think of it like on a motorcycle or whatever, if you're in like the super lowest gear, you're going to be peeling out, losing traction, stuff like that. So if you run a slightly harder gear, you're less likely to peel out if it's wet, if it's slippery, whatever. Turning that slightly harder gear is going to just be a little bit better to keeping tire traction on the ground. And so I would say, like, I usually run on my trail bike, I pretty much run like a 32 on my trail bike in the front, and then I run the 1142 on the back, and I would say that I'm usually like 2 or 3 gears down from the top or whatever when you're doing a lot of those climbs. But you don't want to just be sitting there spinning too easy because you'll just peel out too much. What do you guys think of my next how-to video being tips for technical climbs? Do you think that's cool or not cool? What is my easiest trick? Probably just bunny hop, Sophia. That's something that I've done like forever. So bunny hopping, I started as a kid riding BMX bike, bunny hopping over stuff, and then I got a not cool. Zach, tell me what you think. Because I'll do whatever. I cannot do yoga better than Ryan Leach. I promise you that. God, you have to be like a real speed reader on here. All right, so I'm thinking I'm leaning towards either Gene, Ryan and I were talking about doing some kind of Cool, Nick. Yeah, just send me a message on Facebook or something. That'd be the easiest thing. I was just talking to Ryan about getting together to do some kind of ride. Manny, avoiding pedal strikes, it's really just timing. Because every bike has a... Fernando, 27.5 on all my trail bikes. All right, we'll get some bike checks in there too. All right, Zach, I'm doing a rain bike check for you. Anyway, climbing and avoiding pedal strikes is like so much timing because everybody has different bottom bracket heights and whatever. So, like, for instance, the new trances, when I first got on my new trance, they lowered the BB, and I would strike my pedals a lot, and then it took me maybe a month or two, and I just figured it out and refined my timing a little bit, and now that bike is so awesome. Like, having the lower bottom bracket is completely worth the lower, the striking once in a while, and just like once you figure it out, you get used to it, and it's fine, and you don't do it anymore. Gene, Giants are up 30-14, 31-14 actually. Do a dab like that. I prefer clips for trail riding, and I prefer clips for downhilling. But I ride flats for trials for sure. All right, it's 30. We've been online for 37 minutes and 35 seconds, and I have to watch this Giants game, which is a blowout against these weak Patriots. I know the straight line flats were pretty awesome. I don't even know if they make them anymore. If they do, I don't even know about them, but those were awesome. Hey, what's up, Jeff? I have tried an Anthem SX, and Anthem SX is pretty much the bike that I ride. I usually get frame sets from Giant, but I always build it with like a 130 fork and wide bars, wide tires, wide rims, etc., etc. So yeah, I basically ride an Anthem SX. That is a really good question, Jeff. When is the last time that I broke something with hardware getting good? And I feel like I need to like knock on wood for this. The last time I broke something. I honestly don't know the last time I broke any part of my bike. Oh, probably the last time if I was really so JM Outdoors, I used to ride a 140 and a 160 on my Trance and my Anthem. Like a 160 on the Trance, 140 on the Anthem. That's what I used to ride. And then this year, they changed the geometries and they slackened the head tubes. So I didn't need to like run the longer fork to get that head tube angle anymore. So I actually decreased travel this year and went to a 150 and a 130. And I love it. Just like that. So Jeff, the last time I broke something on my bike was because I was a Giants fan. Skills with Phil is on here. I was a Giants fan after I started riding for Giant because my whole entire life I hated football. I thought it was the worst sport ever. When I was in high school, I hated football players. Growing up, probably because when I was in 8th grade, I thought I was a shoo-in for tight end. Went into the first game, thinking I was like going to start and catch all these touchdowns, and like some kid that was on the team, Sophia, my favorite player, this is a major, major problem. My favorite NBA player is Kyrie Irving, and he just got traded to the Celtics. So if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you could tell that like the entire winter, all I do is wear Cavaliers clothing, and now I have a major problem. I'm still trying to figure out how to address this. I might have to be buying some Celtic stuff. No, Steph Curry is not the best. Yeah, Phil. So anyway, I thought I was gonna start this game, and I didn't. I got benched. I didn't even play one game all of 8th grade. So then I go to high school, and I just hate football. I think it's the worst sport ever. I played wrestling. Played wrestling. You don't play wrestling. I wrestled. So I wrestled in high school. Hated football in college. Whatever. My dad got season tickets to the Giants. Probably like, I don't know, 5-10 years after that I got out of college, and it was because my grandfather lived in Rutherford, and he would always go to Giants practices and like hang out with the players and whatever. And so my grandfather got season tickets, gave them to my parents, and then my dad would drag me to these games, and I would reluctantly go when I first started. And then I totally started warming up to it, and I realized that it's not just like kill the guy with the ball, that it's a lot of strategy, and it's like chess, basically. And now I'm like the hugest football fan ever. That I love the New York Giants. I go to all the games with my dad. It's, that's the dad-son time for sure. I try not to ever miss a game with him, and whatever. Got a bunch of buddies that we watch football games and whatever. I'm not like into fantasy football like Gene. I just pick one team and stick with it, and that's the Giants. But this year, I always have like an extra default team too. So in the past, it was the Giants and the Broncos. I jumped on the Peyton bandwagon, Peyton Manning bandwagon, but I always said it was because it was Eli's big brother. But the Oakland Raiders are pretty sick too. I like Marshawn Lynch. So that might be my AFC team. That was an awesome, awesome, awesome ride. That really was. And I'm going to go down to North Carolina, and I'm going to ride with Phil some more, because North Carolina is my favorite place in the world to ride. It's going to force him to show me around. Did I even finish that story about what I've broken? The only bike part that I could possibly remember breaking in the past like 5 or 10 years is a bolt on my seat post, probably because I was like eating too much food or something, and I sat on it and broke like a bolt, and then my seat came off in the middle of a ride, and that's not really like the best thing to happen. And so I just like replaced the bolt, and it was all good. I will gladly show you all the trials moves you want, Phil, and then you can just show me how to ride down hills really, really, really fast. We'll trade secrets. Oh, you said you bent a crank arm. Actually, Jeff, that reminds me, my memory is pretty bad. Right before I went to China, I was following Jason Melamar at Mountain Creek, and we took this alternate line into a trail that I can't remember what it was, but if you ride Mountain Creek, it's on the rider's right going down the mountain, and it's part of like an old race course or whatever, and I always come into it from the left side and turn into it so I do like a sweeping left turn, so you typically drift to the outside right, and we came into it from the opposite direction, and I just had never done that before, and there's these two like rock double step downs going into it, and since I was like coming into it from a different line, I did like the first rock step down, and then I did the second rock step down, and the second rock step down was like directly into a rock, and I hit my pedal so hard that I bent my pedal, my crank arm, and broke my shoe. Luckily, no toes or anything like that, and completely like wiped out, super bad, and like seriously thought I was gonna die, and I didn't die, so that was good. All right, guys, I think it might be time to sign off. You guys are awesome. Thank you for watching. And if you have any suggestions on what you want to see on my channel or whatever, just like comment on my page, send me a message on Facebook. I'm going to try to do some more of those how-tos, since seems like you guys like that one more than anything else I've done, and I love trying to explain how to do stuff. So yeah, I'll try to do another chat soon. Take care. It's not turning off.